Have you ever heard the expression jazz?
No, I haven't.
A lot of the carvers talk about it. In the competitions, they talk about the jazz of the bird. What it really is how perfect can you make that bird. The World Championships in Maryland, where I've talked often about this, is probably the most prestigious show there is in all the United States.
I was preparing to go to the Ward World Competition in Ocean City, Maryland. I didn't have much time to produce a piece and I wanted to take something. So I got a few pieces of cedar and thought I'll just do a stylized bird or a stylized grouping of a gaggle of geese. And it was very simple. Just put a plain finish on it, not near as complicated as doing wood burning and putting all the detail in. And I took it to Ocean City, went out for lunch, and came back after the judging was done and just was amazed to see that I got an honorable mention.
It's almost impossible to explain how you do it, but you can honestly see it when it's done.
The judges seemed to like the idea that they could see that it was geese, basically because it's a typical way that geese hold their neck when they're being startled.
Well, everyone asks, how do you get to a finished product from a block of wood? First thing you have to do is you start out with a pattern. You have to draw the pattern of whatever bird you're going to do. In this case, it's a duck. We'll take a piece of paper, draw it onto a block of wood, and as we draw out the pattern with a pencil, what we'll do is go in with a big bandsaw and cut out the sculpt of the duck. So what you're looking at is you have different profiles of what the duck's size is, and from here in, you'll have to use certain tools. We also do the same thing with the duck's head. We do a profile and cut it out with a bandsaw. While you're cutting it out, you have to really remember to leave enough wood on because there's certain characteristics of the duck that you have to leave in. You start carving it by taking a knife, or there's some motorized tools. And as you're sculpting the piece, you have to remember every cut that you take with the piece is something that's gone and you can't put back on. Once you've carved it, you've used different tools, chisels, carving knives, motorized tools. When you get to that point, then it comes to a piece that's more shaped like this duck. If you see, he's got different shapes to him. He's cut out, he's got different layers that we've put in. We've sculpted the body so it has more of a shape, a little bit of a softness to the piece. Then we sculpt the head and put the head back on. It always comes in two pieces because it's very difficult to carve in one piece. So after you sculpt the piece and start putting feathers in, there's different techniques in feathering. Some people do a smooth bird, and on the smooth bird they use more of a paint. Some people do a very carved bird, and they're using even dental tools to put every individual feather in, to the point where the feathers are almost real to the touch. Once you get to that point, you move into that last section where you've painted the bird, and it has a wonderful look to it. This black duck is almost finished. It's not quite finished. I can show you the difference of what a little bit of paint from a piece of wood that looks really quite nice to something that's almost completed. So the nice thing about this piece is, as you see, there's a lot of motion and movement in this bird. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but the jazz of the bird brings this out. But what you're trying to do is give the softness that the bird looks like you could put your finger into it and the feathers would move. The more you can do this and the softer you can make the piece, no matter what the art piece in the bird world, the better you'll make the bird, the more realistic you'll make the bird. Look at this bird. This is a bird that we're painting. This is the style of a bird that I would bring to competition. The feathers on it have a softness, a flowing softness to them. Certain feathers have a little hair here and there that you can just barely feel like if you blow, the wind on them will just move the feather a little bit. If you look at the face of this bird, it has a softness, almost a shyness to the face. That's done through how you put the eyelid on, how the soft brush strokes make it have that look to it. Also, on a smaller piece, sometimes the jazz has to be the position of the bird. If you look at this piece is sitting down, hunkered down in an old piece of stone. The whole piece is made out of wood. It's just a shaped piece with paint to it. What you're looking for is something that has a soft, just supple look to it, to the point where you'd swear that it would get up and fly. And that's what the jazz is.